Longtime Browns beat reporter Tony Grossi with his thoughts on where Andrew Berry might be looking next week with the start of free agency.
Preview of free agency and the Browns. It starts Monday. They can start negotiating with teams. What position should they be looking at? Number one, offensive line, right? Either left tackle or the center. They could use players at both positions. I'd also look at, obviously, wide receiver. Somebody who is good enough to play on the field immediately alongside Jerry Jeudy. And thirdly, how about a second tight end? A guy who not only can catch but can block, plays second fiddle to Harold Fannin. I think Todd Monken has a few over there left in Baltimore who will be available.
With that, let's welcome in Casey Kinnamon from the All Eyes on Cleveland podcast and the Barking Browns podcast. All right, Casey, so when you look at it, what areas do you think Andrew Berry goes shopping in for free agency? They've redone Deshaun Watson's contract, likely going to do the same with Ward's, and then the Howard restructure will probably give them some more cap space as well.
Yeah, that Howard restructure will probably be minimal this year as far as cap hit, and so it gives them the freedom to go out and pursue players. I look at, obviously this offensive line needs a ton of work. You've got 1 of 5 as we sit here today. You need to fill out some more spots. Obviously, kind of still waiting on Joel Bitonio's decision, but you need to raise the floor in that room. You need professional offensive linemen. I'm not setting the bar super high. Coming off what you came off last year, you need to get some bodies in the room that can actually do some damage. I do think tight end too is something to look at. And I know there's a lot of connections with some people in Baltimore, with Kolar and Likely, but I'd even look at someone like Cade Otton in Tampa Bay. You need another professional in that room if truly David Njoku is not in the plans for 2026. And wide receiver, there's a ton of room there. And once again, almost like the offensive line room, you need professionals. You need some guys who can come in and automatically just raise the floor and give you a base from which to play. So you're not just relying on projections and hopes and wishes. The guys take steps in years 2 and 3 and 4. I think all those need to be addressed. Now, I don't think that first wave of free agency is where the Browns are going to make their splash. Barry kind of usually waits for that to crest and kind of dives in on the second wave and gets value. So I kind of think that's going to be the same operation this year.
All right, so what constitutes a home run for Andrew Berry in free agency then, in your mind?
Well, I'll leave Malik Willis out of this discussion so we can be realistic. Honestly, I think that you need to. I mentioned Cade Otton's name. I'd be someone I'd be highly interested in. That'd be a home run for me, someone who can do some of the inline blocking, but also provide as a receiver, give you a solid 12 personnel from which to build. I look at someone like Olamide Zaccheaus, another floor-raising wide receiver that's not going to make any splashes. You're not going to see that name and say, the problem is solved, but that is a name that you can come in and he can be a professional level wide receiver and kind of aid you there. But this offensive line, if you're going to make a splash, I think that's probably where they're going to do it.
Yeah,
I know like Linderbaum, someone people are looking at, but something along those lines to really bolster that front unit.
Yeah, I'm with you. If you come out of it with Linderbaum and Otten, that's pretty. You not only raised the floor, you've raised the ceiling of that offensive line. I'm not really interested in overpaying a tackle that's kind of middle tier like Walker. I would overpay a center who projects as one of the top in the NFL.
And he comes in, he already speaks Monken's language. So you're hitting the ground running with protections, and it just kind of fast forwards you a little bit and gives you a little bit of a learning curve so the other guys can catch up and get on his page, as far as across the line. So you need that communicator up front, and I think he would give you that, and it would kind of give you a tiny little cheat code to ramp up this offense quicker.